Welcome back everybody once again for another video of DIY investing. Today I wanted to keep things short and simple by quickly going over a Bitcoin update and showing you guys kind of what I'm thinking with how Bitcoin's playing out. I am expecting another leg down in the cycle, and so I figured it'd be important that I update you guys with kind of my thoughts going forward. If you guys find this video helpful, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Or if you're just new here finding me just barely, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get more awesome content like this. If you want more awesome analysis, click the invitation link in the description of this video, and there you're going to get access to my Discord server. Alright guys, let's jump right in the video today. Alright guys, so here we are with Bitcoin, and we're at a very important point because I believe that we're very close to that support failure. Now, I've told you guys that we have made 3 consecutive lower highs, and that's a lot more bearish to me because if you guys remember, during this initial leg up, we always had somewhat of an uptrending status as we were going up. We did sell through and we have momentary drops, but this one is now trading at more of a down angle compared to these ones, where these ones were looking more as like a strong uptrend. This one's showing a little bit of weakness here. And so really what I'm watching is going to be something like a little leg down right where we're at right now. Consolidate here for a second before dropping. And then we could potentially consolidate here for a while. But something along the lines of that. I think that we're going to drop down, have one more leg down that's going to take us, well, you guys know my targets coming up here. And let me label those real quick. 83.50 and 7,600. I was also looking, and it seems like this 8K mark was also a pretty good area to buy, but these are my 2 targets that I'm waiting for currently. And so I do expect us to have one more strong sell-off. That's kind of why I wanted to update you guys, is because this is my primary. Something along the lines of just a very strong capitulation that we're going to see here inside of Bitcoin. Now, we don't have to go all the way down this low. We could sell off just maybe at this first target of 83.50. We're going to have to really watch and see kind of what's going to happen, because really the way that I'm structuring this is kind of compared to the last cycle, whereas one of the biggest dips that we saw was about 41%. And so we already dropped about 34% from the cycle high to the cycle low. And so for this next leg down, if it hits my first target, that'll be about 39%, 40%, right around that area. And then to 76 is about 44%, 44.5%. And so that's a really big reach. I'm not sure the markets are going to quite get that volatile for us, but it's something to watch out for. Now, based off of the last bull market that we had in 16 and 17, the smallest or the biggest retrace we saw in a dip was 41%, which would take us to about 8K, which is kind of why I said maybe to keep that $8,100 level mark on your radar. Now, I'm not saying that the cycle has to follow it exactly, but with the biggest drop being a 41% in the last cycle, I wouldn't expect this one to go bigger than that, if anything. It would make more sense to me that it would stay relatively the same in comparison. And so this is kind of what I'm going to be watching out for. Really just one more leg down. And it really doesn't even have to stay here very long. We could see something along the lines where we sell off here a little bit, and then we drop relatively quickly before this dip at the bottom gets bought up fast, right? Where we could see something like that, where you start to have some very big impulses before we start to actually go up further into this next cycle. Because remember guys, with this next cycle coming up, I'm expecting us to come up here and hit these all-time high marks. And so this thing, whenever we do find this bottom, I expect it to pop out really quick. And so this is really the consolidation that I'm expecting to see, something a lot more impulsive with things. Now, I noticed that there's a lot of people drawing the potential for an ascending triangle. I think Crypto Wolf was the first person to talk about that, but I've been seeing a lot of people drawing it since. And I don't really think that that's going to happen the same. Now, what I mean by that is down here we saw this ascending triangle accumulation pattern. And I don't think this cycle is going to behave the same. Really, guys, this was the first impulse, but we're already almost at this all-time high mark. And so this cycle is going to behave a little bit differently from what a lot of people are expecting. So I don't really expect us to kind of consolidate here sideways for a long time. I would expect us to drop down, and when we hit these lower support levels, then I think that a lot of buying support is going to come in and really skyrocket the prices back up to this all-time high mark. Now, from the all-time high mark, maybe we consolidate just below it. Maybe we break up and out of that. I do expect this next move to get impulsive, so it's important to time your entries accordingly. I wanted to give you guys this update before we fell so that you guys knew exactly how I was playing it, and I have updated you guys throughout this entire dip. You guys have known my targets. Our first target got hit here at 9,100. Right around this area we got filled twice, and so that was my first target. Now we're just waiting for my next two, and so I'll update you guys exactly kind of how it plays out, see what the market's going to give us. But now is a great time to be buying, so I really just wanted to make sure I was updating you guys, make sure that you knew exactly kind of how I was going to be structuring my trade and how I was thinking about this next move up. Because remember guys, somebody asked me inside of my Discord, or somebody said, what about if it drops a little bit lower? What if I get stuck in positions and I'm underwater? Is it scary to actually try and catch a knife in this move? And I would have to disagree with how low we've dropped from thus far. I mean, we're currently sitting at probably like a 30% correction from the top of the move, but we dropped all the way to a 34%. I've been telling you guys anywhere from a 30 to a 40% correction, and so that's how I'm really going to continue to play this. Now, with this cycle, for basically the entirety up until we break all-time high mark, the rest of the way up, any dip that you get in here is going to be a good dip for buying. Now, even if it's a small dip here, I told you guys that I'd start accumulating at a 15% drop because I feel like that's going to set me up the best. And so as you scale out, take those profits and accumulate as Bitcoin actually starts retracing in its cycle, because then you're going to be able to add to your positions. You're going to be able to take profitable positions when everybody else is fearful, and then when it cycles back up into the next high, you're going to be scaling out of those positions waiting for that next retrace. And so don't get scared in the bear market if you don't have enough funds to deploy. That means you're either A, buying too early, B, buying too much at a certain point. And there's a few different scenarios where that comes to hurt you in the long run, because really you want to be taking just smart trades, taking small buying positions, and just laddering in the lower that it goes. You don't want to overexpose yourself. Usually you want to have a plan in place where you have at least 20% cash on deck, and of course your portfolio and your trading plan can change. And so your position sizing and all of this is factors that come into play when it actually comes to day trading. And so for me, I'm not really day trading this stuff. Like with Bitcoin, I'm not day trading it. I'm just kind of averaging into my position, and then as we go up into the cycle high and we start to approach major resistance, you scale out. And so for me, every dip below 20K is for buying, and that's kind of how I'm going to be playing it. I'll take short-term profits when we go back up, because you're more likely than not going to experience a short-term retrace. But the thing about Bitcoin, guys, and something I want to point out, is the fact that when you try and overtrade it too much while we're at these low points, you might overtrade it and then end up just costing yourself more Bitcoin if you would have just held on to it. And so really, I'm not trying to trade this a whole lot. I'm trying to mainly buy. As I get more cash, I'm trying to just I'm just trying to add that into my Bitcoin stack and just continue to kind of grow from that, because anything below this all-time high mark is just noise until we start breaking that. Because you guys know that from the last cycle, what happened after we broke all-time high was the actual parabolic movement. All of this stuff in here was accumulation. And so I'm expecting a cycle similar to what happened back in the day. And so really, I'm just going to be looking to buy in here. So that's what I wanted to give you guys, just this update to talk about my thoughts with Bitcoin, kind of the way that I'm structuring my trading plan, my thoughts with how I'm going to be playing it out as we kind of come up to these resistance levels up here. But really, guys, excellent time to be buying. I didn't know if we'd ever get the opportunity to accumulate relatively close to the 6K support floor, but it looks as if we could get that opportunity if we drop here within 8,000 and even under 9,000, right around that range. Thank you all so much for the support. It really does mean a lot. I will catch you in the next video. As always, peace out.